You're listening to the G&D Show with Govinda and Dan of City of Bristol College. If you've got any comments or questions for us to read out on the show, then email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Again, that's thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Let's get on with the show. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of the G&D Show. My name is Dan.
And my name's Govinda.
And we're back again. This episode is structured slightly differently because still, we have no guest, but we're working on some. Govinda's got someone coming in. I've got someone coming in. So slowly, the guest may arrive. But that's fine because we've actually got 4 questions that we're going to be answering today. All right. But of course, we've got to follow the format. We've got to follow the format. And actually, this quote I found for the phrase of the day because it kind of ties together the first couple of questions we've got coming in. So the quote is from a author, producer, apparently a multi-Emmy Award nominated or winning, I can't remember, but her name's Barbara Hall, right? And it's all about purpose. So the quote goes as follows: "The path to our destination is not always a straight one. We go down the wrong road. We get lost. We turn back. Maybe it doesn't matter which road we embark on. Maybe what matters is that we embark." Let's just sit in the silence of that for a moment. No, so, okay, I saw that quote and I was like, yes, 100%. Straight away, like absolutely, because what ultimately it's getting, if you were thinking, well, what do they mean, or what I got from that straight off the back is it's not necessarily about trying to figure out the right path to take. It's not necessarily always about making the best decision straight away, because sometimes we can get locked down by this thing called analysis paralysis, where we have so many things to think about that we don't do anything because we're like, oh, but which one? Just take a path. Take a path. I know I had a conversation with a student about this just recently, actually. They asked me about a question about, should I do this or this? And I was like, at the end of the day, it actually doesn't matter which one you do. There are always going to be options available to you. Take a path. And at least you're moving. That's the thing. At least you're heading in a direction. And if you know you're going down the wrong road and you're heading in the wrong direction, you can turn back. That's okay. Nothing is finalized. Nothing's set in stone. But make sure you're moving. That's what I got from this. Govinda, what are you thinking? Absolutely.
Similar, probably on the same line as what you're thinking as well. I think you're absolutely right. And I like the way you put that term, paralysis analysis out there, because it's true, isn't it? If you look at, what is it? Is it the, what's the word coined for it? It's called something like, what do you call it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It is.
I'm waiting for you. You got this, man.
I will get
Here we go. It's on the edge of the tongue. Get it.
Something flashed on my screen. That's why. It is called the paradox of choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
right.
The theory goes: the more choice we have, the more we get stuck into this idea of, well, what do we do? But because our mind is contending with all this kind of mental capacity in space, we don't actually pick anything, and we just run the risk of not doing anything. And that's it. Yeah. But that's fantastic. I agree. I think that's the way. Pick something and see how it goes, especially at this age, isn't it? When our audience is quite young, we forget that, don't we? So it's a case of doing things and finding out what you like from that experience too.
Yeah, for sure. I want to say, though, it's funny because actually talking to some of the students recently, one thing I've learned is that we say they're quite young. They're quite young compared to us. Right? Yes. We're actually old. That's the thing. That's what it is. We're ancient. We're old. It's not that they're young. It's we're old.
It's true.
So, yeah, you learn this as part of when you do the one-to-one. So if any of you have ever done one-to-ones with us, right, which you can, of course, do, then some of you will already be aware that we operate on that quite succinctly. So we'll say, pick 5 of these things and then pick one of those things. Not what do you want to do with your life? How many different options can you take? Right, pick how many options you want to take. No, we tell you how many, because what we don't want, of course, is for you to end up in a place where you're thinking, I'm overwhelmed with what can happen here, so I'm not going to do anything. It's really important that you practice that with yourself. Sometimes that sense of anxiety or overwhelm can actually be a case of there's just too much going on. So you need to kind of force your brain to identify what's the one or two or few things, small few things that actually I really just need to focus on. And how can I then break those down into smaller things? At least then you're moving and you're able to move. And that's the goal, right? Make sure you're moving all the time.
Oh, for sure.
So I actually wanted to add a little extra thing in here because with regards to the Q&A, I know we've got questions in. That's fantastic. Conversation again with some young people, some learners, or sorry, regular aged people. There we go. Is some of the topics that were, they wanted to bring up and some of the things they wanted us to talk about. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. And I know, Gigi, you're going to be right behind me on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
100%.
We will respond to the questions you send us. I'm going to read off a list of topics that were brought up. So we've got lifestyles, the future. We've got saving money, budgeting, music. We've got societal expectations. We've got mental health. We've got taboos, like illegal activity, right, which might be commonplace amongst student cohort. We've got topical issues, things on the news and so on, gender, how COVID is affecting students, extracurricular opportunities, social media, support with using Macs for people who usually only use PCs. I would be useless at that because I never use Macs. I'm not anti-Apple. I'm just not Apple. I just don't Apple. Not Apple. That's not me. I'm PC and Android all day, every day. So I'll be useless for that. But what I would suggest is give us questions around these things, because what Govinda and I obviously could do is talk about these subjects. But the challenge is that, for one, we have a limited time on these episodes. We have a certain amount of time that we could follow. And number two is we might end up talking for so long and still not land on the specific area you want us to talk about. So, for example, right, the illegal activity thing. I know there's a big debate out there about whether or not marijuana, A, should be legalized, or B, is actually an addictive substance, right? And I'm sure Govinda has his point of view on it. I know I have mine. So, of course, if you ask us the questions, and obviously I'm directly inviting you to ask us, then we'll discuss it, the specific questions. But if you say, hey, could you just talk about this for a bit? That would be a big no-no, only because we could talk forever and we might not actually land anywhere. And you obviously then you guys will get bored and you just be like, these guys are just waffling, man. So bring us the questions by all means. And of course, again, we will happily discuss many, many, many topics. There are certain areas we go into, but that's because there are certain topics we just can't discuss. And I can't even say them because that would probably get me in a lot of trouble with the college. But no, there are topics that we'll talk about. We'll talk about your relationships. We'll talk about, again, like I've just mentioned, drugs. We'll talk about all those sorts of things. So send us the questions and we will absolutely discuss them. All right. I just wanted to make that part absolutely abundantly clear. Govinda, you've got anything else to add to this bit?
No, I think that's straight to the point. I totally agree with you. Yeah. There's plenty of room to discuss other topics as well. But just be mindful of what you're asking. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah. I suppose, yeah, don't ask us, what's this on the side of my head? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Not sure.
Yeah, what's the meaning of life? That's a question I don't want to answer.
Oh, no, come on, man. We could talk about that.
We could. Okay. I'll stop being a meanie then. Okay, right, guys. So what we're going to do next is me and Dan have had a number of questions chucked our way. So we're going to get into that and we're going to ask those questions and see and unpack basically and see, what we can do to give you a solution to that, but also understand, the place you're coming from. So Dan, how are we doing this? Are you going to ask me the first question or?
No, you're going first. You're going to ask the question. You're going to talk about it and then I'll go and do my question that I got here.
Okay. First question I've got is from a chap and he's asking specifically, what does it take to get on Spotify for your podcast? So would you very kindly give us the sequence and how that happens?
Okay, then. I love the fact that I've been pinned with this only because I put this podcast on Spotify, and this isn't the only one I've got on Spotify. Now, this is what I've done. I don't want to say that there's an expert method of doing this, but this is what I have done to get my podcasts onto Spotify and so on and so forth. Now, Oh God, I mean, I'm thinking, how much detail do you want to go into it, to be fair? Because I'm thinking, well, you need a mic and you need a computer and you need blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to break it down to the bare bones of getting a podcast up there, because actually the media department at, I think it's College Green, you guys have sat with us twice now in two different groups, and you've shared your expertise with us. So thank you very much for doing that. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know it all, because I really don't. So the bare bones it is. So first of all, of course, microphone, handy. Computer, handy. Make sure you've got recording software, handy. Then what you're going to do is record your show, right? However you want to do it, whatever you want it to be. After you've got the recording, of course, you can choose to edit it. That's probably ideal. I recommend Audacity because it's free, and there's plenty of YouTube tutorials that help you understand how you can make it work best for you. All right. And there is a bit of trial and error. I went through a lot of trial and error with Audacity, but eventually I really got to grips with it, and I really love it. I think it's a great piece of software. Once you've got your final produced episode, then of course you want to host it. Now, the way it works is podcasts are actually hosted on hosting sites. For example, there's places like Buzzsprout or Podbean, or I'm fresh out of a list. But if you actually Google podcast hosting, right? Because what that does is that's a place where your podcast is actually uploaded. They're uploaded onto those sites, right? And you will have to pay for some of those services. Some of them are free, but they have a certain restriction on them. So, for example, some sites will let you upload a certain amount per month. Some will let you upload a certain amount per month, and then they get deleted after a certain period of time. That's a free service. So do shop around, right? Look at what your options are. Or, of course, you can pay something like between, I don't know, £9 or £12 or £14 a month to have it hosted unlimited, and then you've got it hosted all the time. Then what happens is, from the hosting site, there's a process that they take you through where you effectively apply your podcast, like as an application, to select apps like Spotify, like Apple, and so on and so forth. Some are very, very simple and straightforward. You get a little link of where your feed link, your RSS feed link, and that will be where you can paste it to these places, and then they'll review it. And then, of course, if it's good, they'll host it. Right. And I don't mean good as in the content. I think they mean good as in, well, does it condone serious violence towards people? And is the sound quality okay? Do you sound like you're 10,000 leagues under the sea? And things like that. They just go through that remit. And then after some, it's like a couple of days, some it's a month. Once it's reviewed and it's approved, they start hosting it. And that's basically the process. OK, that's effectively it. I'd say it's relatively straightforward, but I say that from my experience. So give it a go by all means. But remember, Google is your friend. Google is your friend. Google can save you. In fact, Google saved me multiple times with software and editing and media and all that stuff. So yeah, absolutely. But thank you very much for the question. Appreciate it. And I hope that works out. Do, of course, report back to us. Let us know what happens. Okay. Thank you very much. So that's question number 1.
Sure. Should we get into question number 2?
Okay, question number 2. This one's for you, Govinda. All right, a little bit bigger, actually, this one. Let's see how you get on with this.
Sure.
So question number 2 is, how can I achieve my goals when I get told I can't do an A-level because I haven't got enough qualifications?
You know what? This is something that comes up very often and frequently in coaching, both in the past for me and also currently as well. What I would suggest now that in a way is it's a very large question to answer and break down, but I'm going to try it in very small sections and chunks. Now, what I normally say is, good thing is that person still has ambition, which is great. That's one thing we want to get out of the way. So what I would normally say to that person is, it's integral for us to look at why the stages or the build up to getting those grades are so important for us, if our goals are related and inextricably linked to that thing, right? For example, I'm going to give you a very, very clear example rather than giving you the definition of it. I'm currently working with someone who remains anonymous, obviously, and this person needs to get specific grades next year to go and study psychology, sociology, and philosophy. So subjects that are from the humanities. The conversations we have is that that's a huge goal for her, a massive goal. In fact, the joy it would bring to her to accomplish those or get onto those courses are just we cannot describe them. So my point being is, we've shifted our mindset to going from, oh, I hate what I'm doing currently, to actually, this for me is a key to open up a brand new door for me and go in the correct direction. Okay. Now, granted, when it comes to goal setting, we're not always going to be in the right direction, as your quote so beautifully put. So my point being is, this is not a case of how do you achieve your goals. This is a case of why and what shift in mindset can I get to get there. Now, if you are someone listening to this right now, and that seems to be an issue for you, I would definitely say that you look at why you want to achieve what you want to achieve, rather than saying, I need to do it for the sake of it. And also that shift in mindset, it's huge. It can be done overnight. From going from, oh, I hate maths, and sorry, maths teachers, by the way, I hate maths, to going, okay, I need maths to at level 4 GCSE to go and do A levels. Okay, it's an important factor. I need it. This huge shift in mindset, it just does wonders. I've seen it across the board, both in secondary and both in further education as well. So I hope that answers your question and doesn't sound too much of a philosophical thing, but I well and truly believe in that method, because I've been there myself.
Cool. Fair. I want to just quickly add on the end of that, to be honest, as well as the asking yourself why, it's also wanting to acknowledge that I personally sensed a mild element of desperation in this question, right? So I'm going to say and reiterate what I said to another student in one-to-one, is that, for one, nothing needs to happen yesterday with regards to your goals. Nothing needs to happen yesterday. You might feel that it needs to happen right now, and it should have happened already. But I implore you to take a pause and slow down, because the opportunities that you have right now are always, always, always going to be there. They are always going to be there. When it comes to education, the opportunities are always going to be there. They're not going anywhere. So you can allow yourself time to, of course, do just what Govinda said. Just think about why do I want that goal? What is it about that goal that I really, really want? What alternatives are there for me to actually get there? And if there really, really, really are no alternatives, okay, well, I can take my time with this. I don't need to achieve this in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I got time. And I do want to say this, knowing what it was like when I was a wee bairn, and I thought to myself, like, I've got to have it all by 25, because then, I've got to have this and blah, 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 blah. My God, honestly, that's wore me down. One thing I would absolutely do if I could live this life through again, knowing what I know now, is slow down. I would slow down, because honestly, it ran me rugged. It really did. So I just want to put that in there as well. But I might be wrong in what I sense from that question. So obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but I still wanted to just say, just in case that element of desperation was there, I still wanted to respond to that just in case.
Absolutely. I'm just going to quickly add a very short caveat to that as well. And it's going to be sounding a little bit paradoxical, considering what we said earlier about goals. I also think this is a good opportunity to say to you guys listening out there, whether you're students or teachers, whoever you may be, that goal setting is fantastic in itself, but it shouldn't be that rigid neither. There is that wiggle space where you might be in a different space right now, and next year you might be like, well, I've got what I need and I don't actually want to do that. That in itself is okay as well. We just want to let you know. Brilliant. So we're going to move on to our third question now, and I'm just going to literally read it from my laptop. So just give me a second, and Dan is going to answer that question. So, why are people mean? And I'm going to repeat that. Why are people mean? And Dan is going to basically give his feedback on this, and also I believe he's got something else to add to that.
Yeah, I just realized this person wanted a shout out. They've got a YouTube channel.
They did.
Yeah, and the channel is Wooberry. So go and search that up. Wooberry. So for this question, again, this is a big one. And I think there are people listening right now who are probably like, I know the answer to that. I can answer that for you. But I thought, okay, I could go into this, but actually what I'm going to do is I've got it here in front of me. I brought my laptop here and I've got the page open. It's ditchthelabel.org, right? And it's why do people bully? The scientific reasons. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through some of the reasons. I don't think I can read all of this because that's just going to be long, but I'm going to go through kind of the titles, right, of what this thing says, which is the real reasons why people bully others. And this is from a study of 7,347 people. So not just like, you know, children, teenagers. We're talking about the whole shebang, adults included, and so on. So we started with stress and trauma, right? People who bully are far more likely than average to have experienced a stressful or traumatic situation in the past 5 years. Then we've got aggressive behaviors. So 66% of the people who admitted to bullying someone were male. And I think apparently that's connected to, yes, the relationship between, and actually this is something I do want to talk about, and I would love someone to ask about it because otherwise I'm just going to throw it at people, is talking about men's mental health. It's connected to men's mental health because it's not great. And there's a lot of things that us men need to kind of speak with each other about with regards to how we deal with that. I'd like to say it's getting better. I'd like to say generationally, Gen Z are doing much better with it than you know, our generation and generations before us. But I can still see it's a massive issue. So yeah, that would be something let's talk about. Low self-esteem. And this is the one I think a lot of people commonly understand, is that people who bully don't feel great about themselves, so they project that feeling onto someone else. And that can be one of the reasons that people do that. They can also have been bullied themselves, so they've experienced bullying and they haven't been able to channel out how they feel about it properly. So what they felt is the right thing to do is to just continue that chain or cycle of bullying where they go on and bully someone else, right? There's also difficult home life. 1 in 3 of people who say they bullied told us that they feel their parents or guardians don't have enough time to spend with them. So we're actually looking at a circumstance of potential neglect and stuff like that. There's also low access to education here. So I think this is fair. It's not necessarily just them having learning maths and English and stuff. I think it is the educational environment that, you know, that requires socializing, thought, critical thinking, an element of, let's say, social and emotional intelligence that people just naturally glean from being in college and being in school, which I'm very aware, I'm speaking to you right now, that we're all kind of starving from to some degree with lockdown, that unfortunately leads us down a path of not knowing how to treat people properly. And that can, of course, lead us to a place where we're treating people poorly, and that's not great. And then relationships, finally, which we run a group session on, and we did just yesterday of this recording. So again, if you guys are curious about our online group sessions, do reach out to us, because we run our online group sessions through Teams exclusively to you City of Bristol students. So finally, those who bully are more likely to feel like their friendships and family relationships aren't very secure. In order to keep friendships, they might be pressured by their peers to behave in a certain way. So those are the reasons that are given from this site here based on a survey of several thousand people. And it's such a cliche. It doesn't necessarily solve anything other than it speaks to a really wonderful person that I absolutely adore called Brené Brown. If those of you know who that is, then yeah, you know. If you don't, get to be knowing. Brené Brown, who talks about in this way of recognizing that hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So again, hurt people hurt people. And that only perpetuates the cycle. That allows it to go round and round and round. And it does take a strong individual, someone with fortitude, to be able to stop that cycle, to recognize that someone's trying to hurt them and is going, stop right now. Of course, for some of us, that might be too late. And we know we might be carrying some pain around at the moment. But naturally, the point that we take then is to talk that out with a practitioner, and of course work with a therapist, counselor or coach, someone that will help us take that pain or hurt out of us so that we're stopping that cycle. And it sucks because it does get into another conversation that I've had before around the fact that we just have to stomach the pain that we experience and work it out in a healthy professional manner as opposed to passing it on to someone else. But that is the state of play. Hurt people. And the only way to stop that from happening is to stop the cycle at you.
Absolutely.
That's got to be it. Govinda, please add to it if you must.
No. It was just absolutely fascinating for you to talk about that. It's just something I'm ever so interested in, as you can imagine from, my background as well, So no, I was going to say though, just slightly off topic with that article you read itself, any of our audience members who are listening to this podcast, would it be fair in saying, Dan, that if they want a link to that article, that they may contact you?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely, yeah, for sure. Thank you. That's a good point. Yeah, I should put that link in there. So
Yes,
I make sure I put that link in the description so you guys can read it in full if you want to and go through that.
Lovely.
Definitely. Thank you, Govinda. Good point.
No problem.
Okie dokie. We've got one more question here, and I'm throwing this one at you, Govinda. So,
yeah, sure.
I don't know what I want to do next year. I'm doing level 3 cooking. Also, can I please get a shout out? My YouTube is Wooberry.
There we go. Shout out to Wooberry. I need to check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Dan, can you just repeat the question one more so I can understand exactly what's been asked?
Yeah, so I don't know what to do next year. I'm doing level 3 cooking. Also, can I please get a shout out? Okay,
so this person doesn't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're doing level 3 cooking at the moment. That's good. So we got that understood. Again, this is going to sound, and I don't want any of my audience members to think, or our listeners to think that I'm not telling you to get emotional or remove yourself from it. But this is a very, very logical thing I'm going to say. So often I find with people who are in that situation, myself included, I'm sure Dan can speak as well from experience. I think that in this situation, there's way too much going on. We're being pulled in different directions, maybe. All right. And so what I suggest is what I invite anyone who's in this situation to do is just sit down for a little while, 5 minutes, maybe 10 if you're feeling a little bit more creative. I understand not all of you have access to a quiet place, and that's okay. So you can do it on your phone as well. What I would suggest is this is something I call a self-inventory. So you sit down and you look at what you're currently doing, where you'd like to go. Ask yourself why you want to do that and what is it you want to do. Now, I understand that in this situation, this person doesn't know what they want to do. So what I would suggest is you get in touch with what you value the most in terms of what you're most passionate about. Now, that's not going to be one or two things. I hope it's not. It could be 5, it could be 10. And if that is the case, I don't want you to get confused in that situation. What I would like you to do is invite the things that are coming up in that situation, but also write in order in terms of a hierarchy, structured. What is the most important subject versus what is the least important subject? It doesn't need to even be a subject. It could be simply put, you want a job next year, or you want to go and get work experience with someone so you can start your own business. Again, this is all speculative. I'm not assuming that this is going on for you, but I would suggest that you get creative in that situation and start to ask yourself questions, and also get coaching if you want. You're going to tag along with us. We'd be more than happy to get curious about you. In fact, by listening to that question, I'm super curious about this individual now as well, and also some of our audience members who are going through exactly the same thing. So I hope that makes sense. And it's self-inventory. Work out what you want to do, why you want to do it, and write down in order what is the most important thing or what you value the most. Because actually, once you get in contact with what you value, then the hows, the whats, and the whys become a little bit more easier. You get a step closer to exactly what you really should be doing. And if you mess it up, that's not a problem too. You learn through experiences. We all are the best science experiment walking on this planet through trial and error.
Could have said it better myself. We are indeed walking trial and errors. And actually, in that regard, I think what I'm thinking as well is there are points where we're not always going to get in tune with, what we're passionate about. We're not always going to get in tune with what really is important to us. That could come later, right? That could come a lot later for some of us. I mean, I know actually for me, it took me 28 years for me to get there, right? I knew there was something, but it took me 28 years to figure it out. So it really can. And actually, even that, it still took some evolution. So yeah, with long time. So I would also say, if you're not necessarily there with figuring out exactly what it is you would like to do, then I would say stay the course that you're on. And again, I'm talking to everyone, not just the person who asked the question, everyone. If you're in that place where you're doing something right now and you're like, I don't know what to do next year, and I don't even like my course, I honestly would say stay the course. Stay the course. All right? And you can stay the course, kicking and screaming and crying and having a tantrum. Do the work, stay the course. Because you're talking to someone right now who's gone through, and again, Gigi, if you've had this as well, man, speak on it. Like,
Sure.
I've gone through times where I have absolutely hated the thing that I have done. Like, I've gone through it and I hated it, and I did kick, scream, and have tantrums. It wasn't very mature of me, but I tell you now, I sit now in a place where I'm like, I am actually really glad I went through that. I genuinely am glad I did it in the end. And I hated it at the time.
Absolutely.
Right? It's tough. And I know it's not something you want to hear, some of you, but I'm telling you right now, that's what I'm telling you right now. If you really can't think of what you want to do next year, stay the damn course.
Absolutely.
Stay on it. Do not move. Just keep going on that course, because something will come up. A light of inspiration. Don't force it. It'll come up, but stay the course right now. Because I'll tell you what, right now, and certainly right now, in 2021 in the UK, leaving college, dropping out, so on. Stay the course. Stay the course.
Definitely agree with you. And actually, having said that, just imagine you were doing what you wanted to do. I can guarantee you from experience, Dan's experience too, you're still going to find stuff that you don't like, right?
Always, man.
Always. So actually, there's no way of escaping that, really,
No, you get better at handling it. That's the thing. Correct. It's a training process.
Or you can delegate them.
or you can delegate them. But of course, you still have to. The thing is, even when you get to the point of delegating, by the way, for those of you who don't know, when we say delegate, we mean, pass it on to someone else. To get to the point of delegating, you still kind of would most likely need to go through an experience of having done the stuff you usually would delegate. So actually, it's a part of life. Doing things we don't like doing, so that one day we do less of the things we don't like doing. Some of the people that I look up to, some of the life coaches I look up to, who really, really incredibly successful in their own right, still talk about having to do stuff they don't like doing. But the thing is, they've got to a place where they do little of the stuff they don't like doing, but they get to do lots of the stuff they do like doing. So actually, it makes the stuff they don't like doing seem pretty minimal. It's always going to be there. But actually, what we want is not for stuff that we don't like doing. We want to become the people who actually don't mind so much doing the stuff that we don't like doing. That's what we want to evolve to, because everyone's got to do the stuff we don't want to do. That is a matter of life. And so, yeah, we become that person. We have gone off. We've moved away from the question somewhat, but that's only in response. That's only in response to what I said about the question. Is like, yeah, look, if you can't figure out what you want to do, stay the course. This seems palatable so far. Go for it, man. Do it. I say man, I mean person. Just want to make that clear. Yeah, that's what I would say. Okay, so we actually have approximately 10 minutes left of this episode. And I say approximately because Smarty Pants Dan didn't start the timer when he started recording. So I'm estimating about 10 minutes. And I kind of stopped recording and went, Govinda, what do we do? We got 10 minutes left. And I do want to fill the time. I want to make sure it's consistently 45 minutes. So I thought, okay, well, we usually do like an interview thing. We don't have an interviewer on. I don't want to do the same thing we did last week. So I thought actually a very quick game of Would You Rather. All right? Very quick. I'll do one, you do one. And we'll go from there. We'll see how we go. Is that all right?
Yep.
Yeah? All right. Fantastic. Okay. So I thought of this one, right? I thought of this one. Now, would you rather have to run around Canary Wharf in the middle of winter in your underpants, right? For an entire day, right? Now, you've got to think about this, because you think you've got the cold that burns, the cold floor that burns as cold as your feet, right? Everything's very sensitive. You know, if you stand on a little rock, it's going to really hurt because you're cold. Think about that. Or would you rather spend the day in a sauna, like locked sauna for an entire day with about 12 old men who haven't washed or showered or maybe even seen water for an entire year? I mean, obviously they'd be dead, but let's not think about that. Go.
Yeah. Plus the skin would look like a prune as well. So I would say for me, I'm going to go for the first option. No doubt about that. I know it's a day. I know it's cold. I know things will be a bit more sensitive, but I'm going to go for a run around Canary Wharf for the whole day in winter in my boxers. I couldn't stand being in a sauna for that long, especially with 12 people. No,
is it the conversation? Is that what it is?
Yeah, not only the conversation. It's just, someone might let off a fart as well.
And actually they do, don't they?
They do.
Yeah. Not old men, sorry. I mean, everyone does, but I mean in saunas, generally, everyone does. You just relax and eventually it's just one hot, damp room of fart.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. All right then. That's my would you rather, Govinda. What's yours? I'm going to give you a chance to think about this. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to have to think about this.
What would I rather?
I haven't played this game in a long time, so.
Oh, you're missing out, mate. This is a great game.
I know it is, isn't it?
In fact, guys, if you're listening to this right now and you've got a would you rather, send it to us. thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Send us a would you rather. Let's do it. Okay. Send us your questions, answers, and would you rathers. Do it.
Okay. So you've been given a challenge, right?
Okay.
So would you rather?
Yeah.
For this challenge.
I'm ready.
Have the most hot pepper and Mexican corn chips, right?
Oh,
that are like
that sounds tasty,
dangerously hot.
Okay, it sounds painful, right? But yeah, okay, go with it.
Your tongue's gonna burn, kind of thing, right? Or would you rather bite an ice cube? Come on.
You basically said, would you rather put Satan's pain in your mouth or have a snack? That's basically what you just said to me.
Okay.
Replace the ice cube, man. Give me something harder, because come on.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm having the pepper. Doy. No.
Right. Okay. So no. By the way, this is lethal stuff, man. You got to watch the spin on YouTube. I don't doubt it. But you've just asked me whether or not I'd have something I'd hate or something I'd like. Okay. So that's that. Or would you rather?
Go on. Give it to me.
Oh, this is so difficult. Would you rather eat cactus?
Oh, you're bad. Oh,
you have to do one of them, because let's just assume that
that's disgraceful, man. What is wrong with you?
But it's for good. It's for a good cause, Dan. It's for a good cause, because any money that's being collected from this goes to charity.
Yeah. Organ donors. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you need an organ donor after the chilies.
Exactly. I'm a cactus. Oh man. Oh God, what is the matter with you? God, you went from 0 to 100, man. Would you rather eat a pepper or some little sweeties? Oh, is that too soft? A cactus. Take that. Okay, fine. Oh God, I'd rather eat the pepper. At least it's actually food. The problem is they would both hurt all the way through the system, including on the way out.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, I'd be a little less harsh.
But the cactus needles, I mean, I'm thinking about a generic cactus, obviously. I'm not thinking about like a little furry one or anything. I'm thinking about generic cactus. The needles, would they break down? We don't know. They would be slicing you all the way through. Get me out of here. I can't. No, give me the pepper. Go on, give me the pepper and make sure I wash my hands thoroughly, because obviously I could get in my eyes. Oh, I'll have the pepper. Because at least the pepper lasts like 24 hours, most likely, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas the cactus,
there'll be a pint of milk for you.
Oh, what, for the cactus or?
Oh no, for the chili, for the pepper.
Oh, thank you. So kind.
You might have a working.
You're a merciful God.
You might have a working day the next day. You see.
Oh man, yeah, no, give me the hot pepper.
Okay.
Oh,
Hot pepper
this
it
is
is.
fun. I like this. This is a good set. Hey, God, would you like more Would You Rathers? Let's do this more. Absolutely, I love it.
Or
I love it.
I've got another idea. Would you?
Oh, well, okay.
you-
Oh, he's
would you
okay.
want one of-
Govinda's gone off his own show. I don't know what he's doing now. Go on.
Okay.
Yep, sure.
Would you,
I really don't know what he's saying. Go
would
on.
you like? Would you like one of your favorite teachers to feature on this podcast? And we do the same.
Oh,
Would you rather?
oh my God. Yes. Oh, we should do that.
Let's get some
Students,
guests
let's
on,
see if we
yeah.
can get this going. Yeah, nominate a teacher and give them some Would You Rathers.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. This guy right here. Gigi, love it. Okay, that rounds it up. We are now at the end of this episode 2. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Again, if you have questions, comments, or a would you rather, or you want to nominate a teacher to come on and do a would you rather, then of course send us an email at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Don't forget, we run the other subject on Teams. You can email us for the codes if you want. You can join us. We do topics on relationships, time management, money management, all that stuff in detail. Okay, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4 p.m. on Teams. Also, we do one-to-ones. I forget about that. We also do one-to-ones. So if you actually got any specific goals that you want to focus on, or maybe if you're like, I don't know what to do, then we can have a one-to-one conversation about that. That's what we're here to do. So of course, get in touch with us. Otherwise, it is a magnificent, terrified, pepper sprayed goodbye from me. Okay, Govinda will talk whenever he's ready, man. What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm just
What's
giggling.
happening, man?
I just thought of peppers and stuff like that. Yes, and it's a goodbye for me, of course, as well. I'm enjoying this way too much. That's what it is.
We just found Gigi's automatic off button. There it is.
Okay.
You just say peppers and he's gone. He's away with the wind. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to the G&D show. Thank you very much. If you've got any comments or questions, or if you're a student at City Bristol College and you want some one-to-one conversations with myself or Govinda, then please do email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in another episode.